When you look at Rutgers, I think you can really see an outline now of what Chris Ash is trying to do. He just inherited not much. What sticks out to you on film of them offensively?
Well, they're definitely instilling toughness. They run the ball very well. They take care of the football. If you don't come ready to play physically, they will knock you backwards.
2 straight weeks with you guys kind of uncertain who you're going to be facing at quarterback. How do you evaluate maybe there are 2 guys that really look like they're in the mix?
Our approach when you go into a situation like that, sort of regardless of who the 2 guys are, is it has to be about us and what we do. Because when you are looking at multiple people, there's 20 hours in the week to work with the guys. You can't have separate game plans. You obviously give some tips and alerts regarding if he's in the game, alert this. If he's in the game, alert that. But bottom line, when you're in a situation like this, guys, it's about what we do. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback on the other side. So we have to take that approach. Obviously, we recognize differences, but it's about what the Spartans do.
Been hearing a lot about Shozu Daitu from the players lately. I know you talked about that a few weeks back, but how did that kind of originate with you guys? Was that something that just started this year, or does that go back even further?
No, that's a this year thing. We get work shirts every year at the beginning of camp, and they have your name and usually something like Spartan Trucking on them or Spartan Moving, or they're work shirts. They're work shirts. This year they said Shozu Daitu, and it was because Coach D'Antonio, I guess he was on the beach somewhere and was talking with someone who had Chinese background, Mandarin Chinese background, and simply said, give me an anecdote, tell me a story with the Mandarin Chinese background, and that was the one. It was about doing the work, and he put that on the moving shirt, and it's been with us since the beginning of fall camp, but somehow it got in the media the past few weeks.
Because of you that day, a few weeks ago when you showed up in one of your work shirts.
I got it, so that's on me.
Yeah, you spilt it.
It's on me.
It's your fault, Tressel.
First time I've ever given you a story on, no damn.
For you, those of us who've known you and known your family for so long, you're really blessed the group of people you come from. Of course, Jim's most famous, but there's a lot of great coaches in your family. What are you most thankful for Thanksgiving for you?
It's funny because people say, boy, Thanksgiving dinner must be crazy. You must just sit around and talk football with your family. And so people bring that up a whole bunch about Thanksgiving. But I'm thankful for the people that have raised me and the examples that they've set. And it's not about the football coaching. They're great people. Great coaches, multiple guys in halls of fame and things like that, but they're great people. They taught me to do things the right way, and those are the things you appreciate in life.
I want to go back to Greg Jones. Right after his first year he played, you and I were sitting over there doing an interview, you may remember, and we talked about, some real flashes on special teams from this kid. Antoine Simmons, Dom Long. Maybe not the same positions for both of them, but we're seeing those flashes that gave us early indication of greatness with Greg. Do you agree?
Yeah, you do. You see them making some plays on special teams, and that's exciting. That's where it should show up first, especially if you're in a program where the depth is building. If you look at the Spartans 4 years ago, it was awful hard to get on the field on the defense in your first 2 years. So those flashes needed to come on special teams. That's where you have an opportunity to prove yourselves. And we're trying to build back there. Linebackers have some depth. Safeties have some depth. So those guys showing their flashes on special teams, that's what you want. And you don't see a linebacker return a kick like Antoine did very often. That's pretty rare.
Mike, has there been a universal progression with this defense this fall through the weeks and through the months, or has there been any area that there's been any regression?
You're going to ask me about regression right now? Jeez.
Because of your jeweler's eye here for what's going on down
Sure.
there.
The bottom line is there has been steady progress. It's harder to see that if you're not at practice every day, because those young guys that are making steady progress, the Antoine Simmons, the Dom Longs, the Trey Persons, the Jacob Panashuks, those guys that are really the ones whose curve is going upwards, they're not playing quite as much on Saturdays, so you wouldn't get to see it quite as much as we do, but the young guys are really coming along, and there's some that are redshirting, especially in the defensive backfield. You're like, oh man, those are going to be some good football players. So
speaking of Dom,
no, go ahead.
Speaking of Dom Long, Mark said yesterday he's been working at corner too, as well as safety. Do you see him being a versatile guy like that in the future, possibly?
tell you what, you see him lined up at corner, he's pretty. You're like, oh my goodness, look at that corner. But he can really run. He has long levers, so when you force a receiver to release around the tee, as we say that's a wide release that guy has to take, and he has catch-up speed, so he can do that, but he's just going to keep becoming a bigger and bigger boy, so we have to see where things turn out.
One of your older players told me him at safety opens up some blitzing that we haven't really seen around here, just with his aggression and his ability to hit. Do you agree with that?
And that's one of those things you don't know when they come in as a freshman. You think from recruiting that they're going to do those things, but then when you see him come around the edge on kickoff and finish plays, not just lean the corner, but finish plays, then you can correlate that to some blitzing, and he does like to be put in a position where he can just go and makes plays when he does it.
Hard to keep a guy like Josiah off the field last weekend, given that he played and started all 10 games. I'm sure he was eager to get out there and kind of.
Hard to keep him off the field. It was the right decision. It was also really good to see Tyson go in and play a full game and shoot. He did a great job. You weren't ever sitting there in a situation where you have a backup corner and you're real concerned. Really the only thing was trying to figure out in nickel and delta packages how to flip the personnel. Unfortunately, we have the pieces to do that.
Do you think like TJ Harrell got more snaps?
Yeah, TJ played our nickel position quite a bit and did it physically, and that's the different thing that he brings in. He's a guy that can run and play some man-to-man, but also you try to throw a bubble screen out there like Maryland did, and he's able to knock back, flatten the table, and make that not as exciting of a play for an offense.
You played 3-4 a little bit on Saturday too, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We bounced in a little bit of 3-4. We needed to give some people some different looks, just so you can't 100% guarantee where those guys are going to be lined up. There's benefits to our guys knowing exactly where they're going to be, but every once in a while throwing in a curveball just force the offensive line to talk a little bit.
And that was Kenny being the fourth linebacker, right?
Fourth linebacker, stand-up defensive end. He's a guy with a motor that you can put him in a lot of different places, and he's not going to stop to the whistle, so you feel comfortable doing it.
I'm going to ask you and Brad a question about Scout Team Guy. Your defensive players are raving about Rocky and about his abilities. What are you seeing?
Yeah, he can sling it. He can run, but he also has that mojo going on when he's running the offense and he's standing back there. And he's a guy that if you're rotating to a 3-deep coverage week and the field flat's open, if he doesn't find that every single time, he finds it. Next time you rotate strong, he's hitting the boundary flat. So he seems to see the coverages, even with our starting front seven coming at him. But he just has swag. He really does. I mean, he makes a play. He celebrates it. He has the scout offensive line fired up, and he can throw it too.
Anything else for Coach?
No.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Mike,
it.
very much.
Happy
Thanks,
Thanksgiving,
Michael.
guys.